The woman kindly let a man in who was begging for help at her door, but she never expected 4 boys dressed in white to appear and drag her into the living room by force. They kicked down her elderly husband, who was too weak to resist. To stop the woman from screaming, they shoved a ping-pong ball into her mouth and sealed it shut with duct tape. The twisted boys even started singing Beethoven with excitement. After tormenting the couple for a while, they humiliated the woman in front of her husband. For these scumbags, this kind of cruelty was nothing out of the ordinary. Their lives were filled with violence and lust. Under a bridge, they once beat a homeless man nearly to death just because his singing was too loud and annoyed them. One day, Alex skipped a fight because of a headache, and the others scolded him harshly. To re-establish his dominance, Alex lured his crew to the river and beat each of them with a stick, knocking them into the water one by one. That same night, they pulled the same trick again, faking a car accident to get a woman who lived alone to open her door. But this time, the woman was cautious and called the police instead of falling for it. Still, they didn't give up. They sneaked into her backyard. Alex climbed up the drain pipe, but he slipped and accidentally killed the woman. Panicked, he ran out the door, only to be met by his so-called brothers, who smashed a milk bottle over his head. That was the end of the line for Alex, and he was sentenced to 14 years in prison. To the guards, he was just a kid who wasn't worth anything. If he didn't obey, they used their fists to put him in line. Alex pretended to submit, hoping to quietly serve his time, but then one day a director from a research institute came to the prison and selected him for a live experiment. He was taken to a lab and injected with some unknown fluid. Strapped to a chair with wires connected all over his head, his eyes were pried wide open with metal clamps that held them in place. No matter how much he wanted to shut them, it was impossible. Drops of liquid were poured into his eyes, and then violent and pornographic movie clips started playing in front of him. Violence used to be his source of pleasure, but now, under the influence of the drugs, he felt nauseated at the sight of it. Even the background music in the films made him uneasy. The experiment worked. When someone on stage punched and kicked him, he didn't dare fight back. He gasped for breath, and when they ordered him to lick their shoes, he obeyed without hesitation. Even sexual temptation no longer had any effect on him. The director was satisfied, and as promised, he arranged for Alex to be released early. Excited to go home, Alex returned only to find that his parents had already forgotten him and adopted another son. Homeless and broken, he wandered the streets until he was unexpectedly taken in by an old man he and his gang had once crippled. But when the old man heard Alex humming Beethoven while bathing, he immediately realized this was the very criminal who had destroyed his family. He locked Alex in an upstairs room and played the background music from the violent films. Fear and helplessness surged inside Alex once again. His cries for help only made the old man more satisfied. The torment felt like needles stabbing into his mind, and Alex finally broke down. To escape the pain, he attempted suicide, but he only ended up badly injured. Meanwhile, the news of his human experiment was exposed, and the government was accused of using inhumane methods to reform criminals. Under public pressure, the director ordered doctors to give Alex psychological treatment. Once he recovered, Alex returned to being the same vicious delinquent he had always been.